America, I just want to say this right here. Midterms are about 3.5 months away, and I think we should all see that the left is pulling some political stunts right about now. And they're only doing that to convince rational thinkers and rational voters like you and I to constantly vote for them to keep them in power. And these are the two major ones I can really think of from the top of my head. And I'm going to tell you right now what they are. All right, so the first one that I'm going to be talking about is, well, now all of a sudden there's been projections talking about, the cases of the China virus, climbing back up. And we all know what the left is going to continue to do. Now we're in the season of midterms. They're pretty much going to implement mail-in voting, just like how they did during the 2020 presidential election, which obviously we all know during that time, cases of voter fraud were literally, going all over the place. Don't believe me? Watch the documentary 2000 Mules and you'll see why. But yes, we all knew that voter fraud was going to play a key factor when it came to mail-in voting. And what the left is doing is like pushing this particular scare tactic upon us so we can go back to lockdowns. Many small businesses would either would literally close shop altogether while they are favoring big businesses. And they're only doing that so this nation that we call the United States of America will be turned into a third world hellhole. In fact, just by thinking about it, I predicted this a couple of years back too. Back in 2018, when prior to the midterm elections back in 2018. But I will also say this right here. It's not just the Dems. It's also these sissy Republicans out there. Now, everybody's talking about a red wave year this time, but I have to be seriously honest. I really do not know at this point. I really do not know. And to be quite frankly honest, even if this year 2022 happens to be a red wave year come the midterms, we already know that this is going to make the left pull a political stunt. Pull this particular political stunt. We're talking about, talking about cases of the China bug going back, going back up. Now, I'm gonna say this right here. In 2020, I've caught the China bug. I've caught the China virus. To me, all it was just nothing more than just, you know, it felt like the flu. It felt like that. It really felt like the flu to me. And you know, obviously, vaccine. This was this was here before the vaccines. I mean, I've caught it before the vaccines were readily available. Now, I am a high risk individual, as they claim. I'm not going to tell you what's my medical issues here, but some people would think. I mean, but yes, I am that particular. I do fit in the high risk category of individuals out there. But all I'm saying is this. This is basically the biggest fear tactic of what the left is doing to try to keep us in fear. You know, as if the drive-by media themselves, including Fox, not going to lie, they're pushing the they're pushing the fear mongering again, like they did back in late February, early March of 2020, and it's really starting to piss people off. I mean, because we can see that once they start implementing I mean, mail in mail in voting again. Oh yeah, we can already see that there's going to be plenty of voter fraud suspicion that will go on. Uh, should this happen again? I mean, the problem is election integrity here in America is has gone has failed and faded away because we've literally allowed mail-in voting to take part in our elections, and we know that this wasn't going to happen to be that this ain't going to be a fair election if that were to happen again. But yes, the left is trying to push that. Now all of a sudden, cases of the China virus is going back up, and we know that. And the thing is that the left is only doing that to keep us in fear, to bring back lockdowns, and we all know mail-in voting is deemed unconstitutional. Yes, I said it. So America, if I were you, if you're a rational thinker and a rational voter like me, don't buy into the left-wing hysterical nonsense. Don't buy into the left-wing. Uh, don't buy into the left-wing nonsense where they want to push mail-in voting like they did in 2020. Because, in all seriousness, we really need election integrity. We really need fair elections. Otherwise, America will end up becoming Venezuela, or in fact, worse than Venezuela. The next thing I want to talk about, this other political stunt, what I would think the left is doing, is that, yeah, gas prices are falling down. And and I would think the left is starting to take credit of. Uh, and and here's the thing, yeah, I mean throughout pretty much throughout all throughout the month of June, I would say, yeah, we were literally paying $5 a gallon for gas. In obviously in places like New York, California, and even Illinois, uh, you guys were paying, they were paying like even much higher gas prices. Um, and now all of a sudden that gas prices are starting to fall down, the left wants to, the left, including Joe Biden, wants to take wants to try to take the credit over this, and which I call BS on that behalf, because we know this is another political stunt they're trying to pull. They're trying to pull this political stunt. So, like I just said earlier in this video, they're pulling this particular political stunt. So, rationally thinking, and rationally thinking individuals and rational voting individuals like you and I would be convinced by them, so we could constantly keep them suckers in power. Well, well, here's the thing. Despite that, if we still got inflation through the roof, for Christ's sake. I mean, the cost of goods and services. You know, our bank, I mean, are going up and up and up, while wages have stayed the same, if not going down. And and another thing is this. Another thing is this. We're also getting taxed up the rear end. You know, I'm gonna tell you this. Not too long ago, yeah, I just hear. You know, I think I am very aware that the rate of inflation is 9.1%, if I'm not mistaken. Yet we got a bumbling buffoon in the White House that wants to that obviously avoid taking the blame. Yet he wanna blame Putin. I mean, he also wanna blame you know the war between Russia and the Ukraine, which obviously that was obviously that was going on way after he take like like sometime in February or March of 2022, which is when Russia invaded the Ukraine. And of course, I'm willing to bet people on the left are probably blaming Trump on this. And here's the killer. Trump is not even president, for crying out loud. So why in God's green earth would you put the blame on him when he's not even president? I mean, for real. Is It makes no sense. That does not compute. Because and the truth is, under the Trump presidency, you know, the economy was thriving. We didn't have all this inflation nonsense, this rapid inflation that's going on. I mean, hell, and even during January 6th of 2021, I was paying like $1.83, $1.80 something a gallon for gas so I could travel to and from work. But immediately when Biden became president, immediately that's where when he nixed that deal, uh, it obviously brought gas prices back up. You see, and then you got some who say that presidents do not control the price of gasoline. Okay, and if that's so, you really gotta factor in the policies, what these particular political leaders, Democrat, Republican, whatever, you know, it's all about the policies they implement. Because when we get bad, terrible policies, yeah, the price of goods and services obviously are going to rise up. And let's not even get started on the truckers. Diesel fuel is even more expensive than regular unleaded gasoline. And and if truckers cannot afford the price of diesel fuel, unfortunately, our nation is screwed. We wouldn't be able to have clothes on our back or food on our table and things of that nature. But yeah, I do feel that due to both of these factors listed here in this video, yeah, the left is obviously getting so desperate that these two major political stunts they are pulling, they're only doing that to convince rationally thinking voters like you and I to vote for them to keep them fools in power. And this is all happening on top of China Biden's approval rating being in the freaking toilet. You know, I think it's already, I think Biden's approval rating is already under 30, under 30%. But I digress. But this is all I gotta say. I am Chuck Johnson, a.k.a. Kid Thunder. I'm signing off. You guys have a wonderful night.